It's been almost 4 years since the world shut down and brought everything to a screeching halt for a while. I was working in a restaurant at the time when I heard the news that dine-in seating would no longer be allowed due to fears of increased COVID cases. March 2020 was an unprecedented time for many folks, and it left me with a lot of time on my hands since my job was cutting back hours and, well, nobody wanted to go outside for the time being, and honestly, I couldn't blame them. I figured I might as well find a way to spend my time to avoid getting cabin fever. So on March 20th, 2020, I decided to download Animal Crossing New Horizons for the Nintendo Switch on the day of its release. I had never played an Animal Crossing game up to this point, but I figured it was worth a shot. With the uncertainty in the world at the time, I needed a bit of a calmer experience to get my mind off things. I'm sure many folks felt a similar way at the time. Now, the term cozy game was something I didn't really understand until I played Animal Crossing New Horizons. The gameplay and the atmosphere was very relaxing, and the game never rushes you to do anything. Aside from paying what is basically a mortgage by selling the local wildlife to your landlord's children. Still not sure how the economy works, but it's backed by turnips for some reason, so I don't know, who am I to judge? It allows you to play the game at your pace while also having time-based event system for holidays, seasons, and even your villagers' birthdays. And yours. It was a wonderful experience during the spring and summer of 2020. Now, the first time I played it, I remember starting the game up and choosing my island's name, which I named Jaguarton, since I'm a fan of the Jacksonville Jaguars, which is a curse I wouldn't wish on any living being. Every day is misery. The first two villagers I ever had on my Animal Crossing island were Mac the dog, who was just really into exercise, and Phoebe, who was a mean bird and I had beef with from the get-go. Like, Phoebe was not chill, she showed up and bullied me, and I didn't appreciate that at all. She was so rude, and I wanted to kick her off the island so bad, but Tom Nook's like, no, we need the residents. Funnily enough, Phoebe grew on me and became one of my favorite island villagers. So, all's fair in love and war. When she had the option to leave the island, I ended up asking her to stay since I'd become so attached to all my villagers on the island as I played the game more and more. But to this day, Mac is still my favorite villager. I would die for him. Now, being able to wander a small little island felt like it was going to get stale after a while, but with the daily activities and slow development of your island, it gives plenty of ways to stay engaged. Now, me personally, I woke up each and every morning ready to play Animal Crossing. And after a week, it became a little addictive. I was trying to pay off my debt, complete Blather's Museum, and interact with every villager to increase my friendship with them, and giving them gifts to get other gifts back so I could increase how many craft options I had, just for fun. Now, my favorite part of playing was getting new villagers to see what personalities and quirks each one had, for better or worse. Seeing your island start as a land overrun with weeds and untraversable rivers and plateaus into a bustling community was very satisfying. The whole point of the game is to get your island's rating high enough to have KK Slider show up and play a concert. It's simple and silly in theory, but the immersion I experienced was like none other. I began to genuinely enjoy my small interactions with all my digital village creatures, even Phoebe. Now, it may have been from not getting enough human socialization during the quarantine months, but hey, I wasn't interacting with people in the first place. Instead, I had a virtual bird that bullied me. I understand that it's silly to have any sort of connection to make-believe animals living on a make-believe island, but Animal Crossing's release coincided with a time period that separated people from each other and helped bring people together. I remember the internet having a frenzy, posting island codes so people could collect all 6 of the different fruits the game had to offer. There was even a viral tweet of the actor Elijah Wood, who's from Lord of the Rings. He played Frodo, for those who don't know. Bard. Elijah Wood was just hanging out on someone's island because their turnip prices were high enough for folks to make a profit. Again, I have no idea how a turnip-backed economy makes sense, but you can also plant money in the ground to make 3 times more, so I stopped questioning it. Animal Crossing New Horizons was bringing people together during a tumultuous time period. Now, I doubt that was Nintendo's intention, but boy did they nail it. The comfort of being able to socialize and visit with others was an interesting aspect of the game that came out at a perfect period in time. I'm sure a lot of folks use Animal Crossing as a nice little escape from reality during 2020, the same way that I did. You, the person watching this, you might even be one of them. There are games that, well at their core, aren't incredible, groundbreaking masterpieces. They resonate with folks by being at the right place at the right time. And Animal Crossing is the perfect example of this. I played this game daily for 3.5 months straight just to work towards the slow development of my island. I know a lot of folks just change the date and time in their Switch's settings to circumvent having to actually wait 24 hours to advance their save file, but personally, I looked forward to the daily task. It gave me a reason to enjoy the game at a nice pace instead of rushing through it. Well, on the topic of exploits and glitches, the only glitch that I ever used was the one where if you had both Joy-Cons controlling 2 villagers, you could place an item down and use one of the Joy-Cons to spin the object and the other to put the item into the other villager's inventory simultaneously. This caused the item to duplicate into the inventory while still being placed in the world. It was an easy way to make money, especially if you had something rare and profitable like a tarantula, which is exactly what I did. Now, this exploit was patched out within a month of the game's launch, but it sure did save me a good bit of financial burden, because it helped me pay off like 3/4 of my house at the time, if I remember correctly, which I did that solely on selling tarantulas. I still don't know what the economy is in Animal Crossing. It doesn't make sense. Why am I paying this raccoon if I can just sell animals? The memories I made in Animal Crossing during this time were comforting and joyful. The game itself didn't receive many updates or support outside of a couple DLCs, and interest in it waned off quickly after the shutdowns ended and the world slowly opened back up. I think I grew as a person alongside my island's village. It was a nice little way to distress and learn to take things a day at a time. I know this sounds silly, but I learned how to be more patient as a person from my time playing Animal Crossing. It was the perfect comfort game. In a time when the hustle and bustle of everyday life grinded to a screeching halt, it gave me the opportunity to reestablish a slower paced way of life. To be able to enjoy the little things, something I'd forgotten to do up until that point. Now, if you played Animal Crossing New Horizons nowadays, I highly doubt you'd have a similar experience than what I and many other folks did during the early months of 2020. It was more of a you had to be there thing. But if you ever get the opportunity to slow yourself down a bit and enjoy a down-tempo day, then I highly recommend you take advantage of it. Because you never know if tomorrow's going to offer you the same chances as today did. In Animal Crossing New Horizons, every day in that virtual little world on your virtual little island with all your virtual little island friends. Every day's a down-tempo day, and you get to enjoy it one day at a time. Thank you for watching.